there is a difference between loving someone and making someone feel loved. My kids did not beg me to become my children. I chose to become a mother, so they don't have to work to earn my love. So the other day I came back from work and my second son was crying. He was crying hysterically about something that had happened between him and his elder brother. One thing about Liam is he takes things to heart. He feels things differently than any other person. And looking at him and how he was so emotional about the fact that he had said something to his dad, and because his dad did not listen, his younger brother came and said the same thing and they attended to. While we were trying to make him stop, it came to mind that, but let's even try to understand where he's coming from, because his pain when we finally listened to him was not the fact that they gave the thing to his younger brother. It was the fact that he felt like he was not heard. That's where this video is coming from. There are just some things that now as a parent I will not do. And I just want to give a disclaimer out there. This is not me giving parenting advice to anyone. You must not take it. I'm just saying it from what I've learned being a parent now, and things that me healing as an adult, or things that me being on this healing journey has surfaced even as an adult, that I know where it's coming from. And I believe someone will relate with me. Just tell me what you relate with. Being a mom now, there are just some things I pray maybe I'm still working on, but I don't want to do to my kids. And I'll just say them in any order. It's not like one is more important than the other. Number one, I'll never let my kids for a minute feel like they are not loved. I want to say that I'm not sitting here to bash my parents. No, they did what they could do with what they had. And this is not me also saying that they did not love me or they did not love us growing up. But there is a difference between loving someone and making someone feel loved. And I think that my parents did not do a very good job with that. They loved us, that's for a fact. But somehow what they do doesn't come off in a way that makes us feel loved. It could be in their actions, it could be in what they say and what they do. What they do plays out in our lives and follow us. It haunts us even when we become adults. And these are things that I think I'll be talking more on in my subsequent videos. I wish that parents could understand the significance of their actions, their words, and sometimes not just the things they did, but what they did not do, and how it's affecting us as adults, or how it penetrates even into our adulthood. So now that I am a mom with what I know, what are the things that I want to do better or I want to do different with what I know? Number one, like I said, my kids will never feel like they are not loved. Does it mean I will not scold them, correct them, let them do whatever thing they like? No. But everything that I do, I know I am doing them from a place of love. I let them understand without any reasonable doubt that they are loved. And that their love, or the love I have for them, is not earned. It's just like the love Christ has for us. We don't deserve it, yet He loved us. It's a gift to us. My kids did not beg me to become my children. I chose to become a mother, so they don't have to work to earn my love. I feel like sometimes our parents make us feel they love you as much as you're becoming, or you are doing what they like, going the direction they like, doing things that they like, which to me I feel like it's conditional love. I don't want that for my kids, regardless of how and wherever, in which form or situation my kids are. I'm going to love them regardless. And I'm going to make sure that I make them feel like that. I will say it as much as I can. Even when I'm scolding them, I let them know that it's coming from a place of love and not just me trying to be right. Not just because you are children and you have to listen to your mom. We grew up in a situation where the best verse in the Bible was honor your mother and your father so that your days will be longer. It became a threat because parents used that to traumatize us, making us feel like if we don't respect them, we will die before our time. It's not a lie. That's what the Bible says, and it's serious. But then when you keep using that as a threat and not just letting your kids know that respecting them is an honorable thing to do, it's a virtue you are instilling in them, they do things because they fear you, not because they respect you. They do things not because you have instilled value in them. No, you've not instilled value in them. You've instilled fear in them. And I don't want that for my kids. I used to have a conversation with my kids and I tell them, don't do these things because I'm watching. Don't do it because I will see you. Do it because it is good. So even when I'm not there, they will still stick to good. They will not do things out of fear. Another thing is, I'll prioritize my kids above all things. I will make them know they are my top priority. After God and me, they are my top priority. We grew in a home where we saw our parents prioritize other things than us. We grew in homes where we saw our parents prioritize even our cousins, our nieces, our nephews, besides us or more than us. We grew in homes where they will buy breakable plates and will never eat in those breakable plates. But when visitors come, they will eat in them. I remember how we'll have plates in the cupboard and they will not want us to eat in them because they say we'll break them. And I asked myself, were we not worth eating in those plates? And small things like this speak volume to kids. It's like, who are those who are valuable enough to eat in this place? Who are those valuable enough to get my father's attention or my mother's attention and not me? I'm going to prioritize my kids. You know, someone said, don't give your best to every other person and give the rest to your family. When I read that, I was like, what? These are things that we do or our parents did knowingly or unknowingly. We give the best times of our lives. We give the best. We go to work. We give our best. And then when we come to our children, we tell them, I'm tired. We tell them, I don't have energy for this. They don't deserve our leftovers. They deserve the best of us. They are our priority. And that's what, as an adult now, knowing what I know, I'm trying to give my kids. I don't want them to ever feel like I'm giving them a leftover. They deserve more than that. I remember one time I grew up never understanding why my dad was willing to lend money to send other people's children abroad. But was like, nope, he's not doing it for any of his children. And to me, that was like the highest level of me not being worthy, because I felt like he valued other people's children. He could vouch for them but could not do the same thing for me. It made me feel like, oh, so this man has good in him, but he's not just good to me. And another thing is this thing of being a dual personality. And sometimes, let me just give a very easy example. Someone comes in, you laugh with them, and your children are looking at you, and then when they go, you start saying terrible things about them. You will be with your mom at home and she is a terrorist, or your dad is the one that when they walk in, everything has to stop. But in church, they are this nice, calm, tolerant person. That has always caused a confusion in my head that I don't understand, because I'm like, what did we do? Why can he not be this person at home? Why can he not be as nice and tolerant as he is with other people? Why does he have a dual personality? Is that how he behaves with me? Sometimes your dad doesn't treat you well, but when people are around, he starts saying nice things about you. Because that caused a lot of confusion for me. I don't want to do that to my kids. If I'm not okay with something, I'm not okay with it. When they are around, that's what it is. And this does not mean that you should not censor certain things. It depends on the children and their ages. But teach your child that they can be authentic. I think that's what I've been trying to do. I'll be authentic with my children, because often at times parents confuse their children with dual personality, and they grow up picking on them. They are one thing on Monday, another thing on Tuesday. Where did they learn it from? They learned it from our parents. We started learning these things from our parents. We had family members who would come home and our parents acted like they were cool with them, and then when they go, they started saying shit about them. They don't like them, they don't do this about them, this person did this thing to me, this person did this thing to me. And I'll sit and wonder, then why are you cool with them? And now I'm an adult and I have people in my life who don't treat me well, but I cannot let them go, because that's not what I learned growing up. I saw my parents hang around people who were treating them badly, were not being nice to them, and they knew and they never stood up for themselves. That's not what I want for my kids. I want them to grow up knowing that they can stand up for themselves. I want them to grow up knowing that they can be authentic. Another thing is, I want my children to learn to love themselves and to believe and trust in themselves. Now, this is the most difficult thing to do, because it means that you allow them make mistakes. You will not always run to save them. Someone asked me, so do you want to see your kids in pain? No, I don't want to see my kids in pain, but I want to teach them that pain is also okay. I want them to know that pain is part of life, and that instead of being scared of pain, they should learn to master pain. Because how else will they grow? If I look at my life now, will I take away everything that made me who I am as a person today? No. A lot of things break me, and I grew from them. Am I saying those things were okay? No. But then I learned from them. If I didn't wake up and fall so many times, I would have still been crawling. So I have to step aside and let my kids make mistakes and watch them fail so many times. I have to step aside and let them find out things for themselves, and not always be there trying to save them, trying to impose things on them, because I don't want them to make mistakes, to fall. I don't want them to get hurt. I don't want them to. No, I have to step aside and let them become. Our job as parents is to guide our kids. It's not to control them. It's to be there to support them. And sometimes there's this thin line between when to step in and when to step out. You know, I have a son that is becoming a teenager, and it's causing me to unlearn a lot of things, because sometimes he comes to me as a friend and he will tell me something that is going on in his life. And I know that he wants me to show up to him as a friend at that time. And there is just this urge to be like a mom and tell him, oh, don't think like this. Oh, don't do this. But right at that time, he needs me as a friend, not as a mom that will tell him what to or what not to do. And being a friend, I have to listen without judgment. I have to act like I'm not a grown-up, I'm not an adult, and just hear his perspective, which is a very tricky thing to do. It has been the hardest thing to do, to keep my ego aside, to keep my adulthood aside, and step down to be his age, and understand that he had a choice not to say this thing to me. And me listening to him And what I will say and what I will do will determine whether he will come back to me or not. So I have to be very, very conscious of what I say and what I do. And at that time, he doesn't need a mom. He needs a friend that will listen to him as a friend. Now, the good thing about that is that I will take my wisdom from adulthood and give him good advice, and that way securing trust. I don't want my children to be scared of me. I want them to trust me. I want to create a safe space for them. I don't want to be the first person to judge my child. I remember one thing that caused me to be a people pleaser, to lack trust in people, was the fact that I got judged the most from home. And I felt like I had to earn the love of my parents. My mom tried her best. I didn't have to do a lot with my mom, but I felt like with my dad, that's what I had to do. I had to impress him a lot to even look my direction. The worst was when I was with my aunt. It's like the day I do something wrong, I'm a bad child. The day I do something good, I will hear her tell some other person. And that's not a good way to live. It affects us as adults, and I don't want that for my children. I don't want them to grow feeling like home is not safe. As a parent now, I want to create the most safest place for my kids. I want to make them feel like they are being heard, listen to hear them, not just listening to respond and then discard their emotions. One of the greatest gifts I feel like any person should have in their life is emotional availability. I told my husband the other day, you can be emotionally present in someone's life, but not emotionally available. What is the difference? Emotionally present people can sit to hear you be vulnerable, but that's all to it. They don't empathize with you. They just sympathize with you. They're just like, oh, okay, I'm sure you're going to be fine, and then leave you with it. But emotionally available person empathizes with you. He listens to you. He gets into your shoes. He feels what you're feeling and responds to you from where you are. He comes down to where you are and responds to that place. And even if they don't say anything, they create space, the whole space for you to be you. And when you're around an emotional available person, it's the most secure, safest place you can ever be in your life. Because that's the place where you can be any and everything without judgment, without feeling any sort of shame. And most often parents don't do that for their children. Before a child tells you, Mama, this happened. Oh, you did this, you did that. How could you? I remember I taught you are from a Christian home. How could you even think about this? I remember sometimes my aunt would beat you even for thinking something, not doing it. You don't even have to do it. You just think about it and she will beat life out of you. And next time when you're around them, you are tiptoeing. And you carry that tiptoe attitude into every aspect of your life. Now as an adult, you cannot make decisions for yourself because you doubt if it is right or wrong. You don't trust yourself. You fear you're going to be judged. You fear they're going to call you names, just like it happened when you were a child. One of the things I said I will never do to my children is label them, call them names. That shit follows you to adulthood. There are just so many things that as adults now, we don't know how to come out of them. Not because we don't know that we have to come out of them. Sometimes we don't know. Other times it's just so hard because it's our normal. We don't know how to function out of that dysfunctionality. There are just some things that you've been told for so long that you believe them. And you've never sat down to question them. I don't even want to give my children that job to have to figure certain things out. especially when it comes to their authenticity, especially when it comes to them being valuable and loved, and especially when it comes to worthiness. When someone constantly shuns you, it can take you to a place of silence. And when you become silent for so long, you get to a place where you don't know when to talk, even when you're being trampled upon. I remember when I was growing up and I was living with my aunt and my younger sister. My aunt had this attitude where when he's feeling good, he will sit us down and ask us, what did I do to you that you don't like? I know I'm a mom and everybody's not perfect. So what have I been doing to you that you are not very happy with? Oh boy, that was a trap. That was always a trap, and I always fell for it for the most times. At some point, my younger sister she will not even answer. When she asks, my younger sister will be like, no, mommy, everything is fine, everything is okay. And me and my sharp mouth, I'll tell her, I don't like the way you beat me in public. I don't like the way you insult me. Each time we are somewhere, we used to sell bread in the park. When I do something, you don't even want to listen. You just start beating me in the park, blah, 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 blah. 2 minutes later, she will take all of those things that I said and use them against me. Oh my God, Jesus Christ. That just, in a long run, took me to a place where I cannot be vulnerable. I cannot say how I really feel about certain things because I know it will be used against me. She used to insult us a lot. She'll call us names. And one thing as a parent now, I tell every parent, stop calling your kids names, stop insulting them. Because these names you call them, don't believe them. Do not know who else they can be other than these names you've called them. And our words have so much power. So much power. As kids, you look at the adults around you as your role models. You can think that you are just a person, but they don't know any other person other than you. They're looking up to you to teach them how to do everything, to teach them about everything concerning life.